Howdy, DreamWolf Tarot here, and we have a fun one today. We're going to look at the Gustav Klimt Tarot, and as a bonus, the Baby Golden Tarot. They call it the Pocket Golden Edition. They're both golden, so they're both going to have gold accents all over the cards, but the mini one is significantly smaller. So they're very beautiful, but what I'm going to do is just go through the main deck first, and at the end I will show you guys the baby deck as an added bonus. So in the box you get the booklet, the deck, and one of these title cards. They tend to always include these, so that's what the backing looks like. It's a symmetrical design. It's pretty cool. But yeah, even this card has a little bit of the gold on it. So let's put that back in there. The booklet's one of the really small kind, so nothing too detailed here. It's in a few languages, and it just has very short card descriptions. So let's get into the deck. It's not going to be in order, I don't think, because I've used these decks before. But we'll just go in the order they're in. Alright, let's take a look at this deck. So we're starting with the Magician. Look how pretty the gold metallic accents are. I like that snake too, that's interesting. I'll try to put the cards in the background where they're still sort of visible. Okay, the Lovers. It's a romantic card. Lots of pretty gold accents. Here we have the Wheel. Very pretty. We've got the Stars. Really like that one. Here we've got Four of Wands. This one's definitely different from what you usually see with the Four of Wands. They did a very motherly one. I actually like this one a lot. Next we have the Eight of Swords. It's got a sort of dark vibe. There's a lot of gold in the background. Queen of Swords. Really pretty. We've got Knave of Pentacles, which is basically Page of Pentacles. They call them knaves on this deck. He's got his gold coin in his hands. Here we have Five of Pentacles. There is a lot of nudity in this deck, but it's tasteful, so I forgot to warn you guys, if you're offended by the human body, you may not like this deck. But there's nothing vulgar in it. Look at all that gold right there. It's so pretty. Here we have Temperance. She's pouring the water there into some kind of statue vase head thing. Here we have King of Swords. Lots of gold on his clothing. Six of Chalices. so 6 of cups basically. Looks like the kid is holding a shield maybe, so he could be a future knight. I'm not sure if that is a shield though, but there's a lot of gold on the outer sides, the right and left side. Here we have the world shown with a pregnant woman. I've seen other decks use birth or pregnancy to represent the world, so that's an idea that's been, it exists. It's showing that there's potential. Like the world means you can have it all, so the potential of like a whole new life makes sense with pregnancy. Here we have 2 of Pentacles, which I think this one's a little different from what I usually see for 2 of Pentacles. You see this mother feeding her children, or a woman feeding 2 children. So it's sort of like a nurturing thing. Maybe they're saying there's a decision, like which one do you feed? I don't know. Usually 2s are decision cards, so it's kind of interesting the way they did that. But let's move on to 9 of Pentacles. It's real pretty. There's my cat meowing in the background. Here we have the moon. Lots of gold moon shapes on this card. Here we have Ace of Pentacles. I really like this card. The wings. It has an Egyptian feel. She's even holding an ankh. Next is 10 of Pentacles. You can see this beautiful garden walkway up to a huge house. Trying to get the gold, there we go. Next is the Empress. She looks like a soldier almost. Next is 6 of Wands. She looks very stern. Like she's not someone you want to cross. Here is King of Chalices. Oh, I love that big gold panel. It's pretty. Next is Justice. Love that giant sword. Here is 3 of Pentacles. She's playing a lute or a harp. I guess it's a harp. Yeah, a lute would be more like a guitar shape. So she's playing some kind of Greek harp, I guess. Roman or Greek origin, I'm not sure. Next is Knight of Chalices. He's got his little cup there. Looks like he's drinking a martini or something. 2 of Wands. Some of the art is almost surreal because the bodies will have exaggerated shapes and they're often very slender and lanky or tall. That's just how the artist does things. Seven of Pentacles. It's a pretty card. Four of Swords. Next is the Hierophant. Next we have the Three of Chalices. It's got that celebratory vibe, but it seems a little more romantic, or it's like different. Usually it's three people toasting, like it's a party or a gathering, but this one feels sensual almost, possibly. I mean, it's two women naked. They seem pretty close. So it's either a relationship meaning or maybe like you're having a lot of fun, you know, that kind of meaning. Could go either way. I guess it depends on how you're doing, what you're reading, what your topic is. But yeah, I like this art. I think it's a good one. It's a different, you know, change for the Three of Cups. Different look. Here we have the Queen of Wands. She's surrounded by people fighting with wands, it looks like. She doesn't look happy about it. Next is the Seven of Swords. You can see three people sleeping here, but there's swords sort of around them, blocking them maybe. So it's kind of, looks like two of them are sleeping peacefully and the third one at the bottom is kind of laying awake. So that could imply, you know, she's in deep thought about something. It's a cool card though. Here is the Hermit. It's definitely got that surreal art. And it's like this guy is moving through space and time or something. He's in deep contemplation. Next is the Knave of Chalices. Next we have Eight of Wands. It's a real pretty one. Lots of gold. It's three girls again. Sort of dancing. Okay, now we have Ace of Chalices. It's a romantic one. I'm kind of laughing because this character looks like that guy that got famous on TikTok for having the stare. He recently got sort of like he did some things that were wrong and he got booted, like his fame dropped, but it looks a lot like him to me. It's kind of humorous. Okay, Queen of Pentacles. She's got a halo of gold, which looks really pretty. I love that look. Kind of reminds me of some famous Catholic art that's like that. It's very similar. Next we have the Emperor. There's quite a bit of gold pattern on here. Next we have the Sun. And they did theirs different from the typical Rider-Waite one. It's two people embracing and there's a lot of gold around them, almost washing over them. I really like the way those gold lines look. I'm trying to get it to, there you go. You can see how each individual one lights up in the light. So pretty. So yeah, that's a real bright one. Next we have the 8 of Chalices. It's got little spots of gold. And she looks mischievous to me. Well, she looks like she's thinking, but she's also thinking about something mischievous. Here we have 2 of Swords. It's 2 men either embracing or fighting. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think they're embracing. I'm really not sure, because swords would imply aggression, but it's a 2, which usually is like romantic decision-making type stuff. I would have to read what the book says, I guess. But it's a pretty card. I love the sword details and all the gold around them, like on the sides. Next we have Knight of Pentacles. You can see his horse has gold on him. Really pretty. Judgment. There's a skeleton up there. People sort of, some of them are sad looking. Some look like they're resting. Some of the cards have this river of time thing going on, like things are flowing in some sort of cosmic river. I think that's deliberate. I think it is supposed to be cosmic, so I like that. It's neat. Next we have the Fool. This is a very different take on the Fool. He's sad, broken looking, upset. This is like when you've acted like the fool and you mess up and you know, pay the price for whatever you did wrong. It's the sad part, the dark part of the Fool card. The aftermath, I guess. So I kind of like it because it sort of captures, like, we all feel this way when we mess up, and you could apply this to a reading and gain some insight. So I like it, even though it's kind of dark. Here we have 10 of Chalices. Got a pile of people cuddling. They're drunk, I guess. Maybe having a good time at a party. But this one kind of gives me the vibes that normally the 3 of Cups gives me. Just more people, I guess. More cups. But yeah, it's an interesting one if you're doing readings. Could have a lot of different meanings. Here we have Death. Pretty interesting take on Death too. A lot of these cards have a different take from the Rider-Waite. But you can see he's there, and there's a newborn, and there's also a family laying. It's like he's possibly deciding to take one of them, so it's kind of weird. But I guess newborn means change. Death usually means change, so it's like the circle of life, I guess. Here we have 9 of Wands. Look at all that gold. So much gold on it. Got 3 girls again. They're all relaxing. Maybe one's dancing, it looks like. It's a pretty card. Next we have 5 of Wands. I like that hair thing, that hair holder thing that's in, like, the gold part on her hair. It really captures the light. Next we have 9 of Swords. Captures the dark, you know, sad vibes of 9 of Swords. It's a pretty one. Dark but pretty. Here we have 5 of Swords. This one's a weird angle. I don't know if she's supposed to be seducing the viewer or it's just a strange angle, like behind her, but she's like sitting in the air. Maybe she's supposed to be swimming in the water. I don't know. Some of the art is surreal on this deck, so that's just, you know, some of them you just have to read what you can into it. But Five of Swords is an interesting one. Next we have the Knight of Swords. Lots of gold patterning on the horse. Looks cool. I like that reddish background. Or it's like a leathery maroon color, really. Next we have Ace of Wands. She's in her robe. She looks kind of royal. Here we have Four of Pentacles. It's very shiny. The girl looks very wide-eyed, kind of excited or crazy even. No, she's just happy probably. We got the Eight of Pentacles. I apologize for the bird chirping in the background if you can hear it. I live with 2 birds in the house and they never stop. So yeah, Eight of Pentacles, I don't remember. I think normally Eight of Pentacles shows it shows a guy sitting with 5 pentacles on one side and the other 3 on a different side, so they're imbalanced. So this is very different from that. It's a couple with a baby, and it almost looks like they're sad. So maybe they don't want the child, and it represents the burden of a child. I'm not sure. Like the financial burden, I mean. I don't know, though. That's just what I get from it, but it could mean something totally different. Here we have the King of Pentacles. He looks like he's holding on to his money and thinking sort of deeply about something. Next we have Three of Wands. A little bit of gold on the right side and stars around her hair that are gold. She's also got a magnifying glass, so she's looking into something, investigating. The Chariot. This is another cool celestial background one. There's the gold part down there on the chariot. She's just riding off into space, I guess. She's on her divine journey. Here we have Six of Pentacles. Looks like the mother is either giving something to the child or just letting him hold on to her hand. I think this deck has a lot of nurturing motherly vibes and lots of like pregnancy imagery. So I don't know if that's just a common theme in Klimt's art or if they did the deck this way or that way on purpose. But I do like that imagery. I think it could help someone with like motherly trauma, like if you're doing readings for yourself. I personally would say I have some of that trauma, so I guess I can relate to some of that imagery of nurturing, like things that would come up in your life because of the trauma. So that would mean the cards are more helpful, because you would get more use out of that imagery. Okay, so we're on Knave of Swords. I like how the armor has a little bit of highlighting. It's pretty. Next we have Knave of Wands. We're getting all the knaves all of a sudden. I like the triangle eyes that are all over him. Guess he's a magician. Next, Six of Swords. It does feature the boat, which Six of Swords usually has a boat. But instead of being jammed in the boat itself, they're just hovering. And she is steering it, but without any clothes on. I guess she's just relaxing. Next is the High Priestess. There's some gold behind her. She's got a book. Maybe it's a magical book or a spiritual book. She looks peaceful, but she also looks like, I don't know, stern, but there's like a twinge of pain in her eyes to me, or an emotion. But if you're talking about the High Priestess, you know, she's been through a lot. She knows a lot. She's experienced a lot. So I think it does fit this character. Here we have Three of Swords, usually a heartache card. I think this one does look at least upset, probably heartbroken. So it still fits traditional meaning. Next, we have the Devil. This is a very strange looking devil. He's like a furry boogeyman. But there's snake imagery on their heads or something. It looks like snakes to me. I'm not 100% sure. And then there's a woman sort of over them. Looks like she might be controlling them. Maybe. It's kind of hard to tell if they're all three being controlled or if one is manipulating the others, but then the devil's manipulating all of them. Definitely a lot going on. Next we have the title card, which is Strength. Actually, the title card for the big deck is Strength, but the title card for the pocket deck is the Lovers. So that's kind of an interesting difference. She's holding a head, if you didn't notice. So I guess the strength here is she overcame someone really aggressively. So it's a kind of dark version of the card. Next we have Nine of Chalices, and it features another pregnancy type of image. So I do think that's part of the major themes in this deck. But it's Nine of Cups, so she's very close to having it all, having a new life or a new way of life. Here we have the Tower. It's a pretty interesting tower. There's a lot of gold coming from it. It looks like energy or fire. And there's these spirit-looking bodies falling, diving. It's a strange but kind of haunting tower card. Next we have Queen of Chalices. This lady reminds me of the actress who was on Cheers. Older people are going to know who I'm talking about. I forgot her name because I was actually fairly young when that was still rerunning on TV, but it reminds me of that actress. She had a similar hairdo. Here we have Seven of Wands. He's fighting what looks like a minotaur. So it's a battle going on. Next we have Ace of Swords. A lot of gold on this. It's a very pretty one. Next we have the Ten of Swords. Usually a very dramatic card. This one's definitely dramatic, but it's way different from usual. It's like this spirit cosmic face thing in the background and this woman wrapped up in something with swords against her neck. It's very different from usual. Next we have the Knight of Wands. He looks official and regal. He looks like he's a royal knight of some sort. Next we have King of Wands. It's Got lots of patterns on his clothing. And next is 4 of chalices. There's a snake on the person. Very pretty. Next is 2 of chalices. It's sort of a sad one. Looks like there's 2 women because I see another hairdo over there, red hair. So maybe there's a 3-person relationship breaking up here or something. It's hard to tell. I get vibes in this deck of a lot of polyamory. There's just lots of groups of 3 and 4 or more. So I think that's something that's also part of this deck. Chalices, 5 of chalices rather. That head is a little creepy. It's another weird image. Next we have 10 of wands. Oh, her face is covered, so she's upset. Lots of upset women in here. In this deck are people with their faces down and covered. But 10 of wands usually means you're taking on too much, so I could see being that upset. The Hanged Man. It's a dramatic image, lots of gold too. He's hanging loosely. And the final card we have is the 7 of chalices. There's a weird dragon carving up there. She's like saying something to or singing to. And there's celestial stars in the background. Pretty interesting. So yeah, I think this is a really unique deck. Kind of dark at times, but also has a lot of motherly, nurturing images and sensual images. So it is pretty cool overall. Now, I promised you guys I would show you the baby deck, so I'm going to get that out. Sorry for the dog barking. But it has a little tiny booklet. It's very thin, but it is at least this kind with the back, the spine, instead of just the cheap staple. So I like the way the book looks. It's very cute and small. Fits in the box perfectly. So let me show you the cards. Here they are. I'm not going to go through them one at a time because it's the exact same images, but I will kind of spread them out so you can see, and I'll pick a few up. Let me spread them out more. They're not going to be perfect, but let me grab one. It's just so you can see the gold. I'll grab a few. So you can see they do have the gold. It's stamped. This one, it's a little off center, I can see. But there's a couple. So you can see they're pretty nice replicas of the big cards. They don't have as much text on them, which you don't really need all that text. You can see what the suit is and everything. But I will hold one up next to a big one so you can see the size difference. So these are the big deck is standard Taro size, and the baby deck is about 2/3 smaller, I would guess. I don't know. It's definitely only a few inches tall. Let me see if the box says how big. I don't see it, so it doesn't. But you can see they're, cute little portable cards. I like small portable decks for going to like a coffee shop or the bookstore or whatever. Travel size. So yeah, I like both the small and the big deck. I would recommend either one. The fuller size deck is much more easy to read and see, of course, but they're the same art either way. Price wise, the large one is about $30 and the smaller one is about $18. So you get more bang for your buck, I guess, if you buy the larger one. Because the smaller one's kind of high priced for a tiny deck like that. So you may as well get the larger one, in my opinion. But it's up to you. Whichever one you like, I suggest getting it. I would give it a 9 out of 10. Even though I don't necessarily vibe with all of the art, most of it I do vibe with, and the gold is just great looking. So overall, like I said, 9 out of 10. So that is it for this reading, and I will see you guys next week with another review. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Hey guys, if you like the song and the video, you can check it out because it's a new music project I have called DreamWolf. The link to my bandcamp is in the video description. Thanks for watching.